We have Season 22 and now it's time to talk about the 5 best decks that you can use in this Season 22 to reach Master 1 with. So welcome back, guys. We have now the new pack, so Kashtira's out, Rescue Ace is out, and now is the time that I can tell you which I think are the 5 best decks that you can use. Not like exact lists that I will show you, but the 5 best decks in general, archetype-wise, that you can use this season with the new Kashtira and Rescue Ace stuff obviously already in-game, and also the new Gishki stuff. Spoiler, the Prediction Princess stuff will not be on the list, but I think you already knew that. So let's just hop right in and I show you the top 5 decks that I think you can most easily reach Master 1 with this season. For our number 5, I have Sword Soul, and I think number 5 you can definitely argue about. I think the decks that will come after this, so place 4 until place 1, will be the way stronger decks. Number 5 is definitely a bit far off when it comes to the power level. I think there are 4 decks that are just quite nice, and then there are a lot of decks that are also good, but some decks really struggle because of Kashtira Rysart. I thought about putting something like Rika here, or maybe Naturia Runic, but they really disbenefit from Kashtira Rysart being on the field and having this Macrocosmos effect. Obviously Sword Soul does also, but I think Sword Soul is a deck that can still manage that. Once again, don't copy this exact list. This is only an example list. If you have triple tactics thrust, you could go something like so. That's, by the way, just quickly a detour, but that's the cool thing about thrust. You could go 3 thrusts, then you could put in something like a Duster, a triple tactics, and one-offs. You could also put in like an evenly matched one-off, and then you basically have access through your triple tactics thrust. So it is like, let's say you have a Duster, Talents, and an evenly matched, right? Then if you have 3 triple tactics thrust, it's basically the same as if you would have 3 Talents, 3 Duster, or 3 evenly in your deck, because it's not hard to activate this card, especially against Kashtira. Though, forget the evenly, that's not the best card in the meta right now, but this was just an example. So I think good old Sword Soul, if you still have it and do not own one of the decks that I will mention after this, you can definitely pick this up. You can definitely win games. You will struggle a bit going second against Kashtira if you cannot out their Kashtira Rysart. You could, of course, if you are struggling with that, look for some text like the Book of Eclipses, for example. You could also go Lava Golem, because I think though then you cannot normal summon, maybe that's not the best one now that I talk about it. But yeah, Book of Eclipse you can definitely use to just book down your Kashtira opponent's stuff. Then also the Kashtira Rysart will be booked down, and then you can start playing your game without you worrying about stuff being sent to the banished pile. Also, the book is really nice against Purrely. You could also run the other book, the Book of Moon, because it's basically enough to just flip down the Rysart. This can, if your Purrely opponent plays the trap game, this can flip down the XYZ little cat before the trap can be activated. So pretty strong in the books against both these decks. I think books will definitely see surge in playing, or in the amount of people playing these cards. That's just my guess, but yeah. Sword Soul, my number 5 pick for reaching Master 1 this season. At number 4, we have Dragon Link, and once again, don't copy this exact list. You can see there is no thrust in here, there's no talents in here, and I would say Triple Tactics Talents is definitely a card that you want to, if you have a lot of them, or if you want to craft them, if you ever wanted to craft them, then go ahead and do it, because Talents is just such an amazing card against Kashtira. It's super easy, it's basically always active. You only have to send one card to the graveyard / banish pile, and then the Kashtira Rysart will activate. Then you can just steal the Rysart and, for example, make a Zeus if you can, or just battle over stuff. So yeah, I think Dragon Link just has a really awesome engine. I would suggest, so this is an old list, but I would suggest cutting down the Bestial package to the necessary bone, which this already is, right? You could argue that you could also put out the Baldrake here, though Baldrake can still be nice because of the effect to banish extra deck monsters. I think running some sort of Bestial package that looks like this is totally fine. You don't really need the Bestials. They are not that great against Purrely, though they are not bad against Purrely, but they are definitely bad against Kashtira. That's why this deck is also only on the 4th spot here, because Dragon Link is just not that amazing against Kashtira. The Bestials aren't really putting in much work. Your engine definitely needs the graveyard, but the fact remains that Dragon Link is a really strong deck, and if you can tech in stuff like the Talents or maybe books or something, which you definitely can, you can like make this list bigger. You can put out the Gammas if you wanted to. You could even put out some Ashes if you need to fight white space or some engine cards, or maybe put out one of the Bystials, put out one of the Bystial Lubelions, though this would make the deck a bit more inconsistent, but there are definitely ways how to make this deck be more effective. Called by the Grave, for example, could also be put out of this deck, and I think you will still find a lot of success with Dragon Link in this season. I think it's still one of the best decks, even though the appearance of Kashtira or the full power Kashtira version makes this deck weaker. I would suggest if in a high master you face a lot of Kashtira players, you might maybe want to switch to a different deck if you have one, though I still think, and that's why this is number 4, that you can take this and reach master 1 with this, and it's definitely one of the 4 best decks, even though it really has not the best Kashtira matchup. That you have to keep in mind. But that also shows you already that there are not a lot of decks that really have an amazing Kashtira matchup, because a lot of decks need their graveyard. So I talked about Rika, for example. Rika definitely needs the graveyard to revive stuff, or Naturia Runic. The entire Runic engine needs the graveyard. So Runic is definitely a deck that is hit pretty hard by the appearance of Kashtira. So that's why, like, generally strong decks like Dragon Link, even though they are hindered by the Kashtira cards, are still like the deck at the number 4 spot, even though that this has really suffered, or will really suffer, from Kashtira being at full power. My number 3 pick is Labrynth. This I think is really a strong deck and really works well against Kashtira, especially with the addition of the new card Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon, which basically is a Book of Eclipse but better. Change as many monsters on the field as possible to face down position. Then if either player controls a face up monster, so link monsters, they must send all face up monsters they control to the graveyard. You can reset this via your lovely lady, can search it via your lady. So I think Labrynth at this moment is quite strong. It needs its graveyard somehow, but it's not that reliable. I think this has quite an okay Kashtira matchup. Also cards like a Gozen match, Skill Drain can be very nice, though keep in mind, Skill Drain, obviously your Kashtira opponent also has big monster bodies, but in general you will have the bigger ones, and you also have cards like the Dogmatica Punishment to just remove the cards. Also, it's not in here right now, but it should definitely be Terrors of the Overroot. That's a card that you want to play right now, booking the first or flipping the first Kashtira special summon monster face down, so your opponent cannot summon any more monsters. That's why I think cards like, this is an old list by the way, cards like Ice Dragon Prison, or maybe also Dogmatica Punishment. You could argue about Dogmatica Punishment, but the thing is, if you Dogmatica Punishment your opponent's Kashtira monster that is special summoned, then the board is then like empty again, and then he can once again summon a monster to the field. So I think it's not the time for Dogmatica Punishment right now. And you could also argue about putting these Caught by the Graves out. I think the Fenrir is still nice to break a board. Same thing here with the Gammas. You could argue about the Gammas, they are really nice in this deck, but destroying your opponent's Kashtira monsters gives them a free board again, so they can then play again. You could also run a list, something close to this list here, with 41 cards. Also, the thing that's definitely not the worst is putting Pot of Prosperity in here, just to have access to some of your more important tools like the Daruma Karma Cannon, or maybe the Terrors of the Overroot. So let's, for example, say you set up a basic board with Labrynth, and then you have your Pot of Prosperity left to get one of your really strong trap cards, or Gozen Match, for example, because obviously a lot of the Kashtira monsters have different attributes, and also the Purrely cards, light and dark, and then the exotic monsters also have some differing attributes. So I think this is also very, very strong. So this or something like this could be a list that you could run. You can also run the pure Labrynth version with the Lords of the Heavenly Prison, and with a like smaller IKEA furniture engine, but I would suggest sticking to the furniture version, as I think it is the better one. For my number 2 spot, I am making a bold prediction, as I think Kashtira is a super strong deck, but is only the second strongest deck in the meta right now. This remains to be seen. I might be wrong here. Number 1 and number 2 might switch around. Yeah, it is here. It's Kashtira, full power Kashtira. This is the list that I'm currently running. I have made a video yesterday. If you want to see it, I have linked it up on the right corner, where I played with this for a few games on the ladder. This right now feels kind of nice. This deck obviously struggles with consistency. Sometimes you just draw a brick hand and you can do nothing, and that feels super, super bad. The deck that is a number 1, and I guess you already know what it is, does not have the same issue, but we have stuff like the Dimension Shifter, which is very nice against basically every deck besides Kashtira. So I already said it, I said it a million times. If you face a lot of different Kashtira opponents, just put this card out. So if in High Masters, everyone is playing Kashtira, put this card out. It's useless. You can better put, I don't know, another Thrust in, or Book of Eclipses or something like this. It's just useless, and obviously it doesn't really get you to an engine as well. So it's not engine helping, right? It's just disruption. So you can put other disruption cards or like board breaker cards in. But yeah, Kashtira, full power. It's nice. It needs a Pathfinder for more consistency, which is crazy, but it is what it is. I think they have done a nice job with this, not making it too strong. I think if they have had not put the planet, I predicted this all time, that they would put the planet to 1. I think if they did not, wouldn't have done that, would not have put the planet to 1, then this deck would be probably too strong. I'm super thankful for them having banned Diablosis. This is solid. The engine is super strong. The engine is super, like, is a really good grind game engine with the Birth, enabling you to resummon powerful cards like the Fenrir or the Unicorn, or even the Scareclaw Kash. And yeah, the engine alone sometimes is enough. So the main deck engine without the extra deck guys is sometimes enough to just kill your opponent. So really strong, really impactful, awesome deck. So not much that you have to say when it comes to Kashtira. It's just amazing. It's strong, but lacking some consistency, which is why I think our number 1 deck is the better one, because of consistency and because it is probably at its biggest power level that it will ever be, I guess. But let's just hop right over and I'll show you my number 1 deck. And the number 1 deck is Purrely, the little cats. This is also not an updated list for the new format. I guess I would put this out and put another Tactic Talents in. Yeah. So I talked about this. Maybe I'm a bit biased as I also played this deck in the TCG, where we have already the cat that belongs to Sleepy Memory. This one we are missing right here. But I think that the fact that we have triple Delicious Memory still, while the TCG has only 1, makes this deck, or has the effect that this deck could be at the strongest point that it ever will be at the current moment, hitting this to 1 and then giving us the Purrely Noir, so the little cat of the Purrely Noir basically, is a nice addition. But I think this could be the stronger version. And yeah, it's Purrely. It's really insanely consistent. Building the Towers monster is so strong. Even if you can out it, you can get into your grind game with your My Friend, with your field spell, enabling you to summon stuff back. So Herald of the Abyss is definitely a card that is really nice, because this can not only out Purrely Noir, this can also out the Kashtira Arise Heart, because you would declare Dark and Machine, and that's only Arise Heart. So you can definitely think about Herald of the Abyss. You can also search this via Triple Tactics Thrust here, so this could be one of the nicest tech cards in this current format. And just remember, if you, for example, play Triple Thrust anywhere in your Kashtira deck, let's say in your Kashtira deck, then you could just put 1 Herald of the Abyss in, and you would basically then play 3 Herald of the Abysses because of the thrusts. So yeah, it's Purrely, it's super strong. Being able to build a really interruptive, super strong boards also, and this is another thing, has such a strong going second capability, even with the fact that Kashtira basically blocks the graveyard and sends everything to the banish pile. This still is really nice going second, because you then just only need your Purrely and then 1 Happy Memory. That's all you need, and that's all you need. You can make your Purrely Happiness, and you don't even need the grave. Obviously, this shuts down your Purrely's graveyard effect, but you still have the Purrely, which you can just use quick play spells from the hand, so it doesn't really matter that much. Obviously, you would want to have your graveyard active, that's sure, that's clear, but then just go into your Purrely Happiness on the second turn and start battling over things, gaining advantage. I mean, the advantage that this card can get is insane. I'm not quite sure what Konami was thinking when they designed this. I always see this in tournaments. People are like, what? This card can attack like 20 times and then search material and then also spin cards back, and then Happiness is such an insane card. It's so sad that the big cat, the Purrely Happiness, is so bad while the base monster is so good. Also, the Purrely Happiness isn't even that bad, but compared to the other ones, it's so bad, and compared to Purrely Noir, it's especially bad. So this is always the better one. Yeah, Purrely, I think this is the deck that you should choose if you want the most easiest climb. once again, I think I would at least do this. Would I put a triple tactics thrust in here? I think thrust is not the best one in here. You could also argue about the discard engine. It's quite small, as you can see. You can argue about the Fenrir's. Maybe you want books in here. That remains to be tested. I think I will have to play around with this deck for a bit before I can really say what changes should be made. But yeah, Purrely definitely my choice for the best deck to reach Master 1 with in Season 22. And if you like this video, then please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell, as this helps me out a lot. Hope you liked it. Let me know in the commentary what you think of my list or what changes you would make. Thanks for being here. We will see each other in the next one.